Let's get really started. It's time to, where did you learn that? Have a discussion on how did you prefer to learn and what effect has that had on your teaching, or is it going to have on your teaching? Let me show you a few things that shaped how I learned and probably how I'm teaching. It all starts with Dick and Jane. My mother was a one-room country school teacher on the prairies of Minnesota, right by North Dakota, from 1938 through 1948. My mom loved teaching. One-room country school. If you can picture a little house on the prairie, that was my mom. She loved it so much that when she got married, and in those days marriage pretty much ended your teaching career, she kept many, if not all, the books that she taught from, including Dick and Jane. These are some of her, or this is one of her original, copyright 1930, first readers. And we grew up with these words, grew up with a complete room in the old farmhouse called the library, which was nothing more than my mom's old books and many other books. And I learned as a little boy, long before I went to school, to read from literally, Dick said, "Come, Jane, we'll go for a ride. Will you go?" Dick and Jane, classic stuff, 1930s. My mother was a woman who loved words. She loved printed words. She loved verbal words. Words just poured out of my mom. They still do. She's 90 years old. She can still talk a mile a minute. On the other hand, there was my dad. I have the essence of my dad. This is a hub wrench for a Model T Ford. I have a Model T, and this is a Model T hubcap. This hubcap actually is from the first car the Pavlov family ever had, a 1915 Model T. This is the hubcap from one of those wheels on that car. Now this odd-looking wrench, as you can see, fits on that hub, and that's how you would wrench this hubcap off to do the work that you need on the hub. Now, why do I bring all this up? It's the essence of my dad. My dad was the quietest man on earth. He was a mechanic, first and foremost, a farmer. He was in the Army as a motor pool sergeant. But my dad's method of teaching was silence. He just put you wherever he needed you to be and left you to figure it out. I was the only son on the farm, and my dad's approach was to take me out to the field, put me on a piece of machinery, and send me off. And the only directions Dad usually would give was that when I got done, I could come home, which I always thought I kind of knew anyway, but that's the only thing Dad would say. These were very, very different people. My mother, a fountain of words. My dad, silence. And that's how you teach. That's how I learned, and that's, I think, how I teach. Before I bring all that together, one last one. This is a Greek lexicon. It's a Greek-English dictionary for the New Testament. It's really old, if you can just kind of get a sense of its age. Its date, 1899. Wow. Now, I got it because my favorite professor at seminary gave it to me. I used to bother Harold Bulls every day. I was a mail boy at the seminary, did anything to keep my body and soul together. We were just married. Anything for a buck was the motto then. And I would deliver mail to all the profs. Now, every other prof got their mail in a mailbox, except for Harold Bulls, who taught Greek and did the New Testament topics. I would go to his office and hand deliver his mail, and in exchange, I would bother him with a question every day. We had this sort of unspoken agreement. I could make his life a little easier if he would answer me a question. Well, I must not have been the most obnoxious person on earth, because when I got to be a senior and I was about to be done, he pulled off the shelf this really marvelous, over 100-year-old lexicon. It wasn't quite that old then, and said, "Here," and inscribed it to me, and this is great. Now, how did I learn to teach out of these three? Well, from my mother, I learned words. Fountains of words, and you're going to be subjected to those words upon words through the course of our videos, and if you've again had me before, you know that's how it is. On the other hand, I think I teach like my dad, with the expectation that you'll get it, you'll understand. There may well be something I haven't touched at all, with just the happy confidence that, well, you'll be fine. And so if at some point in our course together you find yourself just a little unsure, a little floundering, thinking there should be more direction, well, remember my dad, I'm probably reverting back to him. And the last thing is, Harold Bulls taught in one way. questions. That's all class was with Harold. You just had questions. Questions, questions, questions. You had a quiz every day. Don't worry, I won't do that to us. But there were just questions. His firm belief was that he wasn't about to teach by telling us stuff. He was going to teach by having us figure it out. And so he asked questions. We have a lot of questions in this class, and I still think they work well. So that all boils down to this. How did you learn? Who are the favorite teachers that you had? There's a whole list of possibilities that come to mind. They could be, well, parents, of course. They could be elementary school, middle school, high school, college. It could be somebody at work. But how did you prefer to learn from somebody? What's your best way? And then think about how you like to teach. I'm sure you've done a fair amount of teaching already. Can you make a straight line from how you learned to how you teach? I bet you can. And that's a key for us, to realize that we teach in this particular way for a given reason. And it might not be a reason that's related to the people whom we're teaching or the situation, the goal, or anything else. It's just because that's worked for us. Or it brings up a happy memory and occurrence in our own life. Let's start with that then. Let's examine our own selves, our past, and by the way, get to know each other a little bit. Let's ask, where did we learn that? And how is that going to change our teaching?